Well, with only a few weeks left until the finals, Brett Kimmorley, I'm going to ask you a big question. Who's going to miss out and who's going to be there in terms of the top 8? I want to take you back to your top 4 last week, and this is how you saw them. You had Manly, Souths, Roosters and the Storm being your top 4. 2 of those 4 actually lost, which throws a bit of a spanner in the works. How important is this week, particularly for 2 teams, the Bulldogs and the Broncos, who are just teetering at the moment?
Yeah, that's right. I think we're narrowing down. There was 12 last week in calculation. I think there's only 10 left. So I think the Dogs and the Broncos, if they lose this week, gone.
Yep.
Put a line through them. They'll drop too far behind. So my top 4 has changed a little bit. I still think Melbourne are a chance of sneaking in. It was a massive upset loss on the weekend. A side that I thought would struggle for the rest of the year is Penrith. Penrith, yeah. I said, wouldn't win another game. They've got to 30 points now. They're a good chance of scraping home because they're at 30. And I think 30 should guarantee your position. So I think they're guaranteed, Penrith. So now that makes the top 4 calculation. You've got the Storm, the Warriors, the Eels and the Cowboys. After this week's round's calculation, I think are all going to be on 28 points. So.
Okay, so going forward, if I was a team that's sitting in the top 4, and historically in this McIntyre Part 2 system, you've got to be in the top 4. Who would I be most scared of? Would it be the informed Warriors, the Cowboys, if they happen to be starting to win away? Or is it a Parramatta on their day? Which out of those 3 or 4 teams outside the top 4 is the one that I'm going to be worried about the most?
I think the most fearful side in the competition are the Warriors. If they finish 5 and 6, remember the first week they will play New Zealand, so that'll help the fact that they don't have to travel back-to-back weeks. So I think they will win at home, finishing 5 or 6.
And they generally play well in places outside of Sydney, like Brisbane, which they're not going to get a final. But certainly in Melbourne, if they happen to play Melbourne, they'll
well, if it does occur and Melbourne do finish 4th, and they happen to go to Melbourne and play, which is themed for the Warriors, a home game in Melbourne. Yeah. I hope that we see Manly will finish 1. Manly are guaranteed to finish 1. I think South and the Roosters are the sides that everyone wants to see in the grand final. Unfortunately, we keep knocking each other out along the way. I hope that they don't clash. I hope that they do finish a bit apart from each other. 2 and 3 will be Roosters and Souths, and 4 is going to be that calculation. There's 4 sides vying for 4th. Who's going to win, I'm unsure, but I think the top 8 is nearly sitting as it looks now with Broncos and Dogs missing out.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see the Dogs turning things around, and the Brisbane Broncos season is really on the line in this Thursday night game against Souths. We all wait and see what happens over the next 3 weeks as we count down to the NRL finals in 2014.